Alright folks, welcome to another budget gem or budget bust. Today, I have an Autotek amplifier. Yes, we are completing our round through the Maxxsonics products. We've already tested Hyphonics to a failure. We tested an MB Quart, which was the second amplifier I ever tested. That one failed. We tested a Crunch amp that failed horrendously. And now we are finishing the Maxxsonics 4 with Autotek. Autotek, I've never owned an Autotek amplifier before. They used to be a pretty solid brand back 20 years ago when I first got into car audio. They were, most people could consider them equal to or a little bit higher than Hyphonics. When API owned them both. That is, when API was producing them, you know, you'd have similarities between the SX line and the Hyphonic Zeus line. And the Mean Machine line was pretty much exclusive to Autotek, but they made good stuff. A lot of that stuff is still desirable even to this day. However, it's been probably 17 years since Maxxsonics has been ruling the roost with Autotek, and they have been slowly eroding the brand to the point where it's unrecognizable to where it was 20 years ago. So this amplifier I got because one of the viewers that are out there, Steven, who lives not far away from me here in Chicago, he contacted me and said, hey, I've got 3 amps I'd like you to test out. One of them being this Autotek. Another one, which I'm sure nobody really cares about, the Orion XTR 4000D. He gave me one of those to test. And a Soundstream Tarantula, the big 5-channel. So I got 3 of those. This is the first one of those that we're going to test from him. Thank you very much for letting me check this out. And this amplifier is rated at... Check out the box here. There's no RMS ratings given for it. It is rated at 2 channels, 325 watts a piece max at 4 ohms, 650 watts by 2 at 2 ohms max. And that's it. Again, no RMS. Bridge, it's supposed to be 1 times 1300 watts max. So typically you would divide those numbers, the max numbers, in half, and that would give you roughly 650 watts. So I don't know, maybe that's the number, who knows. But we'll dig into it, we'll find out exactly what this amp does after we unbox it and strap it up to our Amp Dyno. So, let's get started. Let's unbox this bad boy. Alright, opening her up. First thing we got here, we have our Autotek sticker and an owner's manual. Which, how do I open this thing up? Oh, there we go. And, oh, it's an installation guide, it's not an owner's manual. So, still no idea what the RMS power of this amp is. Apparently, Maxxsonics is not going to tell us. So, great. Let's see, open her up. Okay. We have one amplifier here. Some high input adapters and a spare fuse. It's like a 30 amp fuse. Oh boy. Yeah, that's it. So let's undo the amp. Ta-da! 1 2-channel amplifier. Let's move this box out of the way. It's kind of got that black brushed aluminum look to it. We're seeing pretty common. Have an enormous 1300 watts right there, so that's usually a bad sign. This amplifier is 8.5 inches wide. Chassis is roughly 9 inches. When you calculate for the mounting feet and everything, just about 10.5 inches. And height is about 2.5. So this amp will fit pretty much anywhere out there. So you could probably mount it to under your seat, pretty much anywhere. Again, not very big. Let's check out the sides of the amplifier. Along this side of the amplifier, we find our power input terminals and our speaker output terminals, as well as our fuse. And yes, this amplifier has the ultra cheap Spade terminals. I mean, what do you expect? This amp is under $100. I think you can find them most of the time for about $60-something, and yeah, very rarely will you find raw wire connectors. So you can see here we have our ground, remote, and battery terminal for Spade connectors. Blah. And of course our left and right speakers over here, speaker outputs. You can bridge this amplifier, as I already mentioned before, and there is one single 30 amp fuse, which pretty much writes off any chance of us getting 1300 watts out of this amp, and it also pretty much makes it almost impossible for us to see 650 watts out of this amplifier, which, yep, also stinks. Along this side of the amplifier, we find our settings, as well as our RCA inputs and outputs. You, of course, do have a set of line outputs for your RCAs, in addition to your ins, and as well as it does have a high input adapter. So for you people that want to run raw speaker wire, you can do that. Of course, you have your gain right here, which is adjustable from 0.2 volts up to 6 volts. You have your bass EQ, otherwise known as bass boost. Notice how I've left that off. Please leave that off. You have a high pass filter from 60 Hertz to 1.2 kilohertz. So no subsonic filter. There is a low pass filter from 250 Hertz down to 30 Hertz. You have a crossover here, which is, again, this is a full range amplifier. If you want to do a full range, if you want to have a low pass or a high pass filter, depending on what you're doing, you can set that up that way. And this is kind of unique. You don't usually see this in multi-channels, but you have a stereo or a mono mode. This is not, this won't impact if you bridge the amp. You could still leave it in stereo and bridge the amp. That will still give you the mono output. But if you wanted your left and right speakers to be mono and not in stereo, you can flip the switch over and both speaker outputs will have the exact same output. So you can do that. Alright, nothing left to do here but to strap up the Street Machine SMA1300.2 from Autotek up to our trusty Amp Dyno and find out just how much power this little amplifier actually puts out. I got a feeling that we are highly, highly overrated. Again, no RMS ranking, so we will have to go strictly on cost per watt. Which, remember, our benchmark cost per watt is 13.6 cents. Yeah, I still don't think that's going to happen. So, we are going to find out. I will see you all after the break, after we see what this amp does. Alright folks, final thoughts here on the Autotek Street Machine SMA 1300.2 1300 watt amplifier that does not do 1300 watts. As you saw in the dyno, we barely squeaked past 200 watts. 4 ohms bridge, we got 191 watts certified, 214 watts dynamic, roughly around that same number uncertified. And we're all at 14.4, so none of you people coming in and say, well, you're at 14.13, 14.4, those mystical 1200 watts will show up out of nowhere. Nope, 14.4, 200 watts. Rated at 1300 watts. Yeah, this is a bust if I ever saw one. Sorry, Steven. I know you sent this one and you said, hey, curious to how it does, and this thing does not do so good at all. Yeah. This one just makes me sad, you know. Not sad because, you know that because Steven got ripped off. I mean, he only paid $35. He kind of knew going in. He's, you know, this is like, hey, whatever it does, great. But, you know, it's sad because I know where the Autotek brand used to be. I mean, they used to put out some mean stuff. Like when you bought a mean machine amp, that thing was badass. You know, those were killer amps, you know. Now, look what you get. You bought a 1300 watt amp that does 190 watts certified. You know, it's cheap. Spade terminals, single 30 amp fuse. Hell, even the LEDs on the side are dim. That's how sad it is. It's even got a sad LED. Come on. You know? I mean, I know why they put these stickers on there, that if you break them, you'll break the warranty. Because, quite frankly, they don't want you to see what junk is inside. So, sorry folks. Another bust here for you. Hopefully next time we get a solid one on the bench. But till next time, I got a lot more amps to test. I got over 40 plus amps here, so I got plenty of amps to go through. So I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.